walked into the stadium for the World Cup, proudly wearing India's jersey while the crowd cheered you on. What did you feel?
I felt that there was a lot of love that came from the people who had come to cheer us, support us. Talking about the 17 World Cup, that was my first 50 over World Cup as well. Playing in England, I had a half century in my debut, so that kind of rushes things back, right? You kind of feel good and happy.
It must have been such a proud moment, not just for you, but your family and the entire nation.
I think it's not only World Cup makes you feel proud, it's every time you walk out wearing that Indian jersey, when the national anthem is played in the stadium, when there is thousands of people singing, that is a moment that you will always cherish.
I heard that your teammates call you Dart or Darty. Can you tell me the story behind it?
Australia, when I went to play Big Bash, in Australia they don't call me Veda, it's Vader. So Darth Vader, they started calling me Darthi because of that.
My name is Avni and I'm from Grade 8. Welcome to another episode. Today we have a really special guest joining us. Joining us today is Miss Veda Krishnamurthy. She made her debut at 18 years old. She played in 2 final World Cups and she smashed that legendary 70 of 45 balls hit in World Cup 2017. Ma'am, before we begin, how does it feel to be back here? You used to be a TCIS alumni, right?
Yes, it feels very nostalgic. I got to meet the chairman, sir. I got to meet one of my teachers, Diva ma'am. I mean, it just felt like I traveled about 21 years ago and, remembered the first day I came into the school. That was for my admission, of course. And it just went by. I think that school, the building, is something that is etched in my memory. And I absolutely love my days in back then. The things that I've done, the teachers shouldn't know. All of it is fun, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure everyone has that very sentimental attachment to the school they grew up in.
I also came in, after I finished my 7th grade. So I moved to Bangalore for that. So 8th is when, now, you kind of remember a lot more things. You're aware of a lot more things. You understand things better. And the minute you start understanding is where you start making memories. And those memories, the people, there's something which I'm going to hold close to my heart always.
That's lovely, ma'am. It must be such a special moment.
A really special moment. Honestly, I didn't expect that I would feel so much.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I know, I've same school, yeah, whatever. I mean, I didn't know how it would feel back because I've never gone back to my school or college as a chief guest. I've always avoided it. I kind of feel that, I shouldn't be obliged to do just because I've gone, I've studied there. So this is the first time I've done something like this, and it's special. I think at some point, given an opportunity, people should definitely try going back to the school in a different avatar, not just visiting. It just rushes a lot of emotions in you.
Ma'am, with your permission, can we begin the questions?
Let's go.
When you walked into the stadium for the World Cup, proudly wearing India's jersey while the crowd cheered you on, what did you feel?
I felt that there was a lot of love that came from the people who had come to cheer us, support us. And talking about the 17 World Cup, that was my first 50 over World Cup as well. Playing in England, it was in the ground that I made my debut. So it, again, very nostalgic because I had great memories. When I made my debut, I had a half century in my debut, so that kind of rushes things back, right? You kind of feel good and happy. And I absolutely loved my time in that World Cup.
It must have been such a proud moment, not just for you, but your family and the entire nation.
I think it's not only World Cup makes you feel proud, it's every time you walk out wearing that Indian jersey. There's a sense of pride that comes automatically, the sense of responsibility that comes automatically. Nobody has to tell you what needs to be done. I think the minute you wear that jersey, you kind of have that 6th sense, 7th sense, everything activated, and you get in that flow. So that also is one part, and also every before every single game, you line up for national anthem. So when the national anthem is played in the stadium, when there is thousands of people singing the national anthem together, that is a moment that you will always cherish, and that is the moment as a player you look forward also.
Something you'll always remember, a core memory.
Yeah, it just seems like I remember a lot of things.
Ma'am, it's a very proud moment.
Yeah, definitely.
How did you get into cricket, ma'am?
Oh, interesting. So I come from a place called Kadur. It's a very small town.
Yeah.
So the gully that I lived in, there was about 6 houses put together in that road, and every house had a boy child of my age, and I was the only girl. So I loved playing with them. We used to play a lot of cricket. We've played different sport as well, very homely grown Indian sports that you play with tires. I don't know. Have you ever tried playing?
Not really. I'm more of a homebody.
You should.
Okay,
You should
I
go outside, be a outside body, and explore life.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, all these kind of things that I played, and it just made me very competitive from a younger age, because obviously when you're competing with boys, you cannot just sit back, and that's where I started competing with them, because I felt that I'm better than them. And it came to a point where you're deciding teams, right? We were about 5 people.
Yeah.
So 2 and 2 and 1 would be a joker. And the fun part was I was never the joker. They used to fight which team I would be in. So one of the guys used to be a joker. So that is where the competitiveness started. That is where the cricket started. And my brother used to play with his friends. I watched him also play around. And it just organically grew within me.
How does it feel being the younger sibling?
Wonderful. Because you can just do whatever you want, and then you can get away with it. I always feel like, being the younger child, it just gives you an extra cushion, because as parents, obviously whenever anyone becomes parent, the first child, they're also learning to become a parent, so they don't know what exactly needs to be done. By the time the second one comes, they try to rectify the mistakes that they did with the first child. The third one comes, you're kind of like, focusing there. And I was the fourth child at home. So you can see the leverages that I've got in my life. And I always felt that, mom and dad tried everything with the first 3 and let the fourth child do whatever the child wanted. So that's where I am at.
It also gives you that sort of support system.
My eldest sister was the biggest safety that I had. Anything, mom, dad have been very supportive. Like I said, being the youngest child with that much age gap, you kind of automatically become everyone's favorite, because even siblings are not competing with you because there's a lot of age gap, right? So they also start looking at you in a very overprotective way
As their child.
Yeah, as their child. So that's how they saw me, and it just gave me that extra cushion. I could get things done from anyone, because by then my siblings were also old enough to stand in front of my parents and say, like, no, you have to do this. So I knew which topic, where I should go, who I should convince to get the things done. Been a very manipulative child.
Ma'am, cricket has been called a gentleman's game. How was your experience being a female cricketer?
It is a male-dominated sport. There is no second thought about it. But the beauty of it is the ones who play cricket, like all of us, like my colleague, the ones before, and even now, we never felt that we are competing with men.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are not playing cricket against a men's team. We're playing within each other. So it is a different sport altogether. And that was how we started viewing the game, because if you want to excel, you will only excel with the competition you have. If we look at competing with men's, that is something that will never be level, because the things that has happened in men's cricket, the amount of cricket they've played, the amount of trophies that they've won.
They have a lot more years of experience.
Not really. Women's were the first ones to play the World Cup. Men's followed it up 2 years later. So we are an edition earlier than them, but it's just the exposure, the media, the support, and also there is a lot of sponsors that the men have had before, because they won their first ICC trophy in 1983 and we won ours first in 2025. So the growth happens when you win big trophies. And the first time when we made the finals in 2017 is where the growth started, because that is when people started accepting, people started thinking that women's cricket
Seriously.
is entertaining. For people who watch cricket, you watch cricket because it's fun to watch. And that was the idea that we built around. We started competing within our own system, within the women's cricket, within the country that we are representing and playing against. And once we started setting our standards there, and we were able to draw a lot of people's eyeballs, and I think that is where it is. Because I never looked at it as whether it is a gentleman's game, whether it is not supposed to be. It's happening on its own. We are living in two parallel worlds. Men's cricket is happening on one side, women's cricket is happening on one side. There's never going to be a crossover on the field, but there is going to be a crossover off the field, because we all come under same association. We all come under BCCI, so we are a family that way. But they have their own path, we have our own path.
That's really nice. Like, it's not a competition when it's the
It's
same
not.
country.
It's not.
Yeah, you represent the same country.
Definitely. And also, I feel when you are competing physically, you shouldn't be competing against each other. There is not like men are better, women are better. But when you are, we're equals. When you are competing in other aspects of life, mainly when it comes to tactical, when it comes to intelligence, I think that's where everyone will fall back into the same place. There's no hard pass rule that, a good scientist has to be a man, a good doctor has to be a man. So women also are equally intelligent in that way. So physically, yes, we can never compete. But I think the rest of the world, I think women do a lot better than men, if I must say. But yeah, that's how it is.
Ma'am, you're wearing such lovely sneakers today. I saw you have a big collection of sneakers.
Yeah, I do.
From like classics to Powerpuff Girl style.
Yeah.
Where did it originate from?
So I always loved shoes.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I was a Nike athlete for a really long time. So I got a lot of free stuff. And also I started buying a lot during COVID, because you start exploring, what's happening, what is the culture. And I really love the streetwear culture that USA has when it comes to their sneakers, when it comes to their t-shirts, the prints. So I started watching a lot of YouTube videos around it. Then I learned that there is a lot of heritage. There's a lot more around what happens. And I kind of felt that, that is something that I like from within. And then I started purchasing a lot more sneakers, and eventually purchased so much that I don't have space to keep.
You have a very playful nature, ma'am. Like, even when you went on the Kapil Sharma show, you roasted Kapil sir a lot. Did other interviewers get scared of you after?
People who know me
Yeah.
know for the fact that I'm very straightforward. There's no filter from heart to head. It, like, whatever runs, it just comes out. And I like being like that, because I kind of feel that if I'm not saying what I'm thinking or what's in my heart, I'll start speculating a lot more things, and I'll only be occupied about that topic a lot more. It's better to get it out of your system. And that's a funda that I follow. And strangely enough, people who know me very well, very close to me, know for the fact that when they're talking to me, there's no filter. So they expect, and they know that I tell it on their face, whether they're right or wrong.
Ma'am, one thing I really like about you is that you stay true to yourself. It's a really good trait.
Thank you. You should come out of the house.
Yes, ma'am.
That's when you will learn all these things.
Ma'am, I'll take your advice.
Yeah, you
I'll
better.
touch some
I'm
grass.
gonna keep a track. I'll check.
Ma'am, I'm scared now. Ma'am, what advice would you have for young students who want to pursue cricket as a sport?
See, I mean, not only cricket. I'm just telling any which is. I'm not even talking about whether it's sport. Anything in life, whatever you like. Success is something that doesn't come overnight. You will fail a lot more times before you succeed in what you want to be, and that failure should be a learning process. That every time you fail, yes, you get dejected. You need to let go. It's not easy to let go. It takes a lot of time, but also it is important that you see it as a learning process. I always feel that make mistakes as much as possible, because you'll become better in life.
Mistakes just make you learn from them.
Yeah, if you learn from them.
Yeah.
You can't just make mistakes and say I'm learning from it, but don't make the same mistakes
Yeah.
repeatedly. Give some space between first mistake and the fifth mistake.
Ma'am, what's your favorite song? Is there any such song that motivates you in hard times? Or you
No,
just like to do-
I'm not a music person at all. I don't listen to music. My like if I'm driving, I'm not listening to music. I don't use earphones. I don't use AirPods. I don't listen to any sort of music in that
Not
way.
even podcasts.
No, I mean, if someone's playing, I'll listen, but even then, I'm not listening half the time.
Oh.
I'm just like in some other zone.
Do you prefer to have a conversation or zone out?
Depends. Depends on my mood, but yeah, I mean, I have couple of my friends. One of my best friends loves playing the same song 100 times, so I pick up lyrics very quickly. So subconsciously,
What
I
is
would
that
start.
song, ma'am?
There's a lot of songs. There's Kannada songs, there's Tamil songs, there's English songs. It just keeps changing. So it's not like what I like, it's what she likes. So if she likes a Tamil song, I'm listening to Tamil song. If
Who
she
is
likes
your
a-
best friend?
So I have a friend called Vanita. We are friends for 21 years now.
Wow.
So she also played cricket. She played cricket for India. We played cricket for Karnataka together. She's into cricket coaching now. And yeah, she's someone who listens to a lot of music. So my music taste changes according to her music taste.
It must be lovely to work with your best friend.
It is. She was also the coach when I was playing for Karnataka. She came back as a coach. There's a lot of memories, a lot of things that we've done that people shouldn't know together. We've been partners in crime for a lot of time. We've been a very destructive force together. And we also always had this confidence that, we've got each other's back. So we used to be all the more aggressive in, doing anything. We never really thought whether we're right or wrong. We eventually did it. And then like have faced the repercussions also like that. But it's fun. It's always fun to have someone who will have your back.
Ma'am, I heard that your teammates call you Dart or Darty.
Yeah.
I'm a big Star Wars fan actually. Can you tell me the story behind it?
Oh, funny. So Australia, when I went to play Big Bash, so Australians have this way that, anyone who plays for your team, the teammates come up with a nickname. And nickname is a really big thing in Australia. So when I went to play for Hobart, so in Australia, they don't call me Veda, it's Vader. So Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So that kind of like, sounds very distinct. So they started calling me Darthi because of that. It's kind of nice because it just kind of got stuck around.
Yeah.
And
So even your own teammates call you that.
yeah, like in Australia. I mean, it's always nice to have a nickname outside of India. I think in India, the nicknames are so funny that you can't even tell
Yeah, they just
proudly
add
out.
"oo" to any name.
Yeah, like you can't even tell like the nicknames that we've had around in our Karnataka team. I can't even tell publicly to people. That's how bad they are. So that's how. I mean, I'm also part of it because I have also been part of many naming ceremonies amongst the teams, but that is very limited and restricted within the group.
Yeah.
I think it's not something that I can openly and proudly talk about.
If you could give yourself one piece of advice, your younger self, what would it be?
Nothing, because I live by a rule that don't regret in life. So I probably wouldn't know what to tell my younger self, because if I have any regrets in my life right now, is probably where I would think of telling my younger self not to do that. But I have always been someone who would do things, face the repercussion, face
look
the
back.
mistake, never look back. And then, like, right, I did that. This is my reasoning of doing it. It didn't work out, fair enough. No problem. I'll try again, and I'll try and do another way. If it works out, no problem. If it doesn't, I still go back and try something else.
That's a very good outlook to have in life.
That's where you will not have a lot of things in head. You're just free in your thoughts, because assumptions and presumptions and dissecting a lot of things that has happened, especially in your past, you really can't change it, right?
Yeah, you can't.
So you can't go back and rewrite things. So it is always about looking at, like, I've done it. Yes, I've done it. It might have costed a lot of things in life, but I can't go back and rectify it. So why sit and think about it and break my head over it and waste my time now? I'd rather be more productive doing something else.
Knowing that you once sat where we sit today, it just like opens up the sky for us, because like it just makes us feel like the sky is the limit. And ma'am, you're also like living proof that if you work hard enough, your dreams will come true.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, it's so nice to be here, and I always feel that, I've never wanted to make an impact in 100 people's life. I always felt that if one person is impacted with whatever I've done in life, that is a bigger joy than trying to, make an impact in a lot more life. And I just feel like, sitting here, hopefully another 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, I see a lot more achieved in their life, not just in sport, anything, whatever they choose, and, make a name out of it, and, be happy and become a better person. I think I'll be very happy.
Ma'am, if all our listeners could take away one thing that you said today, one thing they would remember, what would you want it to be?
Make mistakes. It's okay.
That's amazing advice, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, thank you so much for being with us here today. We
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. It's
Thank
been
you.
such an honor